It's time to get schwifty in here.
It's schwifty time today.
If you love Rick and Morty as much as we do, then you know that the show is known for its dark humor, inappropriateness, and incredibly brilliant self-awareness. So as with most fans of the hit show, we naturally want to know everything we can about the characters, creators, and backstories. And we have some of these secrets here for you. Before we get started, be sure to hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with all things CBR.
Don't be sad, Marty. We'll go back in time.
Origins. The hilarious Rick and Morty is actually based off the famous time-traveling film Back to the Future.
Jesus Christ, Doc, you disintegrated Einstein.
Calm down, Marty. I didn't disintegrate anything.
Justin Roiland, the show's creator, made an animated short back in 2006 called The Real Animated Adventures of Doc and Marty.
Oh, Doc, this is the most fun.
The short was a thinly veiled parody of the popular sci-fi film Back to the Future and the main characters Doc and Marty. Creator Justin Roiland's cartoons were aired on Channel 101, which was run by Community creator Dan Harmon. Harmon was temporarily let go of Community and then approached Roiland about adapting Doc and Marty into a regular series. So they toned down the Back to the Future references and explicit content, and Doc became a scientist named Rick, and Marty became Morty, his grandson.
Well, guess what? I made him up. You really are your father's children.
Dialog is improvised. One of the things we love about Rick and Morty is how natural the dialogue feels. From the stutters, mumbles, and even Rick's burps. It sounds like regular conversations you'd have with a friend. Except for the aliens and space stuff, or maybe you do talk about that, which would make you all the more awesome.
Have you met my buddy Scropon? Not again, Rick.
Well, the reason it sounds so natural and off-the-cuff feel is because it is. Roiland plays both main characters and loves to improvise. He does this by running Rick's lines and then doing a Morty read-through. Then he does a take of the scenes as both characters, letting himself go with the flow. Pretty schwifty.
You gotta get schwifty in here.
Secret plot element. When it comes to shows like Rick and Morty, we just can't get enough. We want to know everything, like what's Rick's backstory? Is he aware he's on a show? We have so many questions. But there is one secret that Roiland and other creative staff discussed early in the production of the show, and they all agreed to never reveal it.
I'm an alcoholic.
They did, however, want to place clues and allusions to it throughout the series. However, Roiland acknowledged that one fan figured out the secret and posted it on Reddit. The catch? He didn't identify the secret or the user. Naturally, this sent fans reeling with likely possibilities. Like Rick is an older version of Morty. What do you think?
I saw you. You're both all over the damn place.
Burps are real. At this point, the burps are basically a catchphrase for Rick. Some of us find these hilarious, some of us gross, but we all love the show. Did you know that these burps are in fact real and not at all random? Roiland said that during audio recording, he'll read Rick's lines once and note where he wants to insert burp takes, and then goes back and re-records the lines. For burp fuel, he uses low-calorie beer and water to get the air into his stomach. He waits to try to get a burp in the middle of a line. So gross, but so good.
Okay, we're rhyming again.
Don't patronize me. I'm Mr. Sprinkles.
Not the first show. Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon has created magic with Rick and Morty, but this isn't their first show they've done together. They actually worked on an even raunchier short-lived show back in 2007 called Mr. Sprinkles. The show was popular as it was a satirical parody of The Cat in the Hat. Every week, the viewers voted on their favorite sketches, and Master Sprinkles won and had a total of 8 episodes. The show, of course, wasn't for everyone, but it had a small dedicated fan base.
But indoors can be fun with my Gubblesot ride.
I'm calling 911.
You don't have to do that.
And it's great for anyone who wants something similar to Rick and Morty.
I was also late because of my drinking and mentioned it to zero applause.
Creative voiceover. Rick. So funny, but not exactly the best role model. He has been a drunk from the very first moment we met him, but all this is part of the character. As we mentioned earlier, the dialogue is improvised at times, and Justin Roiland also uses beer to fuel the burps.
Hey, my drink is empty.
But sometimes the Rick inspiration calls for a little more buzz. Roiland posted a video of himself doing shots and getting a little bit more tossed for a more inebriated version of Rick in episode 4 of season 3. He was even encouraged by co-creator Dan Harmon, but associate producers had trouble keeping the session on track, saying it was the least productive recording day they ever had. We can only imagine.
Yeah, like nothing shady ever happened in a fully furnished office. You ever hear about Wall Street, Morty?
Censorship. When it comes to a show with a heavy amount of inappropriate jokes and crossing lines, there are bound to be quite a few haters along with the heavy amounts of fans. There are those who believe that even adults have to be restrained every now and then. The creators can draw, write, and talk about certain inappropriate things, but there are some things they just can't do, and scripts have to be tweaked. Take, for example, this scenario with Mr. Jellybean. That had to be handled a bit delicately, as well as when they had to change change an alien's brain matter to green instead of pink, as it looks way too much like a human brain.
But I shouldn't be so critical. I'm an alien!
The shape of the characters. Rick and Morty has a great amount of really wonky looking characters, as they should be. A lot of them are aliens, but if you look closer, they're actually inspired by other things, especially their shapes. The creators love inappropriate things, so it's only appropriate that their characters be in the shape of less than appropriate objects. Many of the aliens are inspired by what's between a man's legs and excrement. The Zigirians and Blim Blam are great examples of aliens inspired by a phallus, and the characters in Zeep's universe were inspired by spermatozoids. The episode The Ricks Must Be Crazy had aliens inspired by many more unmentionables.
Okay, like you're gonna quietly teleport somewhere and never come back?
No, it's your house.
Rick's family life. While watching the show, we have gathered that Rick wasn't always around, and from different bits and pieces and quotes throughout the series, we gather that Rick and Beth's mom probably had a rough marriage. Beth herself has dropped huge info bombs on the episode Autoerotic Assimilation. Beth tells Rick,
And I know I sound like Mom, but I can't sacrifice this whole family's safety just because I'm afraid you'll leave again.
to which he responds fine. Beth then asks if he means fine like getting into his car and never returning. Pretty bleak, but we assume at some point Rick endangered his family and Beth's mother put her foot down and Rick left.
I got an errand to run in a whole different dimension. I need an extra pair of hands.
Oh, jeez, Rick.
Pilot in record time. It's hard to imagine how much time went into creating such a self-aware, smart, albeit raunchy and inappropriate show, especially when coming up with the pilot episode. It had to have taken quite a while, right? Wrong. It turns out that Harmon and Roiland actually wrote their show just moments before the pitch was sold to Adult Swim. Wait, what? Yeah, you heard that right. Dan Harmon said that he and Justin were sitting on the floor with their laptops out and was about to go home when Justin said it would take 3 months to write it out if he left. If he stayed, they could write it in 6 hours. And by golly, they did.
5 more minutes of this and I'm gonna get mad.
Well, there you have it, folks. Are there any that we may have missed? Which were your favorites? And are there any secrets you know about? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to like and share it. And check out more awesome videos in our playlist. As always, thanks for watching.